It is a stop that dominates the climates with a magnificent temple hidden in the mountains. A castle for some. For some, it is a home of lost sacred relics, Ottoman. Their sultan visited Nure. They were all amazed. The newly discovered secret. Passages, treasures that cannot be found, and two monks who follow a dream. Story. Why did this place exist? What happened inside that secret passages? Was it done? The guardian of time sometimes only arouses curiosity. That's one such place. Sumela Monastery. A monastery. In the seclusion of the monks themselves. They are dedicated to worship, but no one knows exactly what is going on inside. A monastery where he could not learn. Legend hears generations. Two Christian monks who have never known each other and live in distant geographies. At the same time, he sees Mary, the mother of Jesus prophet, in his dreams. In a dream. To the icon where Mary is holding the baby Jesus in her arms, that is, the picture, Sumela. The monastery is where it is today, so they are separated from each other. The monks who came to Trabzon by sea unannounced met there and they tell each other about the dream they saw and experience great astonishment. It must have been a miracle of God that the picture of Mary holding Jesus in her arms. It is of great importance for Christianity, because the person who made this depiction is the Bible's. It is Saint Luke who is believed to have written one of the 4 chapters, and the discoveries are in a dream. What they saw, since they went to the cave, not long ago, the picture was also. He finds. In fact, they are not the first to find it. The natives have found it much earlier. When the locals find this picture made on a board, they first try to smash it, but they can't smash it. They try to burn it, but your fever won't stop. Water will not take away this picture. They also leave and leave. Again. He enters the Virgin Mary in the dream of the monks and tells me to build a church here. On top of this, they set out to build the modern-day Sumela Monastery. Well, it started out very interesting. On the side of a mountain away from everyone, hard. It is not easy to make an Iraqi church out of sight by carving rocks. It also makes sense. Is not. But one of the most unusual structures of Christianity is that these two men, according to the faith of his hands, according to the order that came in a dream, 1,600, 1,000 from today. It appeared 700 years ago. In fact, when it was first made, only. It was a church carved into caves in the mountain. But he who is heard of his holiness, Sumela, who began to grow with faith, over time, the Christian world. It has turned into one of the most important structures, and it became the center of a cross. This built. While it was being made, the surrounding villages also worked. A handful of people have stones on their backs. They first filled the hollows by moving them so that a church could be built upstairs. While continuing his studies, the foot of Barnabas, one of the two monks, slips and his finger is injured, but at that moment something unexpected happens. From above, dripping water healed the injured finger. Obviously, this water is blessed and a frost is made there. That the water around the monastery is sacred. The targeted belief was also accepted by Muslims. The flowing stream. The water, which is believed to bring healing, is even more valuable with the arrival of the Turks to Anatolia. He won. This monastery, built between steep cliffs, is only decked out. Christians were not interested when Fatih Sultan Mehmet took Trabzon. He wanted to see this monastery, admired it, and gave autonomy to the monastery. He gave it. Yavuz Sultan Selim, come here in his prince's house and golden candlesticks. He donated various books to his library as a gift. The Ottoman sultans especially attached great importance to the monks at the Sümela Monastery. He was giving. Almost all sultans have made significant donations by making. They had raised the treasure of the monastery, but the most help and support. Sultan Abdulhamid II made it. Abdulhamid gave to this monastery. Thanks to the lands, he became the owner of 15 villages around the monastery. Let's go inside this holy house now and see what we have. Long. On the walls by the skillful fingers of faithful Christians many years ago. Look, I want to introduce some of the processed pictures, the famous of the church. I'm one of your frescoes. Her name is Mary of Caria. Mary is depicted with Jesus in her belly. Has been. Mary, who fits God into her belly, who does not fit anywhere in the world. It means that at the moment there is a fresco known as the Pentagrator Jesus. So you see, have you noticed the fingers of Jesus the prophet? Forever. Until he is the chief priest, he is the only one of the Trinity of Father, Son and Holy Spirit. To meet in God, and the other two fingers are the two aspects of Jesus, that is, the human. And it symbolizes the fact that he is God. And around him I am the light of the world, and he writes that I am the light and the light of the world. The frescoes in the monastery. Many of them have no faces. The reason is a different mystery. The monastery for many years. The people living around believed that the eyes of these frescoes were healing. And they came and dismounted, boiled in water and drank. This is the face of some of the pictures. Therefore, there is none. Others were dismantled by historical artifact smugglers. The monastery was taken to its present appearance in 1366 years. The king of the Trabzon Empire was restored during the time of the third Alexis. According to legend, the king fell from his horse during amnesty in the forest while he was unconscious. He is found by a woman and treated by being taken to a monastery. The woman is Mary, the mother of Jesus the prophet. Upon this event, Alexis, admiring the monastery, starts various construction and charity activities. The king, 1360. One year he watched the solar eclipse in the courtyard of the monastery. Sun eclipse, a harbinger of great changes, good or bad omens. He is the light of what will happen. He should be aware of this, that he is good with Turkish gentlemen. He got along, married his 2 sisters and 4 daughters to Turkmen gentlemen. So why is it so inaccessible? This monastery was built on a difficult slope. Why not to the center of the city, but once upon a time mankind was aware of? Even among the mountains, where it is not even. Deck. Actually, the answer to this question is again. It lies at the heart of Christianity churches in urban centers in villages. He could not serve the spread of Christianity. This task is much more than the center. He devoted himself to his faith by retreating to remote places for religious seclusion and the world. He was falling for monks who were cut off from his life, monks where they went. By building small churches in the wild lands, villages and travelers are around. He was making it possible for him to worship and for pagans to become Christianized that he lived. The miracles narrated are also attributed to holiness by the people. Why was it happening? According to some researchers, these monasteries have such a handle. The reason for the decrees is the interfaith competition. Yes, because before Christianity, according to pagan beliefs, usually the end of the mountains, the arrangement of a few stones in the center of the wildlife in parts or complicated. Temples were established with the construction of Christianity with the spread of Christianity. These small and large temples, which belonged to the pagans together, began to lose their value and merged with the Christian faith into churches. He's transformed, just like many examples in history, people on the walls. Believing that the frescoes are healing, he wishes to boil his eyes and drink. Many miracles such as pools, the belief that the waters are healing and sacred. It indicates the existence of a pagan temple at the place where the monastery used to be. Why is the monastery, which is not explained by any fact other than a miracle? Maybe we are giving the answer to his question here in this way, which will be looked at. If it happens, both in the Orthodox geography of the Christian world in Turkey, we encounter many Sumela-like monasteries. However, the Sumela Monastery, combined with both its splendor and the rich vegetation of the Black Sea, it is separate. It also holds a place for the Virgin Mary to build a church here. The belief that he wants in the dream is more orthodox than making Sumela valuable. It has been transformed into a pilgrimage center for Christians. Of course, all the beautiful things. Its history is not full of glorious years. Date 1914, 1918. The male of Russian soldiers is moaning in Trabzon city. He was caught under bombs and many civilians were killed by Sumela. The monastery is also among the targets of Russian soldiers. But the building itself. Not. Contents. The most important drawing of Saint Luke and the foundation of the monastery. The main reason is that the picture of Jesus and Mary sent here by the sultans. Gifts and many valuable items among these dates Russian soldiers' deck. Unfortunately, he was taken by. This robbery of Russians was carried out by the monastery. It was the worst thing that happened to me since the day, but the priests made it worse. He prepared it with his own hands. Sumela Monastery against the enemy occupation of Anatolia. The dream of establishing an independent Greek state in the Black Sea with his visit. The Quran had turned into one of the important centers of the Ponticists. Dozens of villages around the monastery were already Greek Christian villages and they banded together and started a fury of violence in the Black Sea, but Kuvayi Millier. The movement and the liberation gained under the leadership of Mustafa Kemal Ataturk. As a result of the war, the First Assembly did not forget this betrayal of the monastery. It was closed in the year 924, and the monks who lived in the monastery, sent from Anatolia 1924 year 1900. Until 53 years ago, the monastery was only a mansion of hunters and shepherds. It was an abandoned building that was used as in the year 1953. The soldiers who came to Turkey with the agreements made by the Mendes government. They became the first tourists to make an official entrance to the monastery. If 2000 is in 10 years. It is considered by Christians as the day of the Virgin Mary's ascension to heaven, and August 15, which is considered holy, is the first Mass after an interval of 88 years. Arranged, the rite was performed by the Patriarch of the Greek Orthodox Patriarchate of Istanbul, the first. Bartelos has directed it, and something interesting has happened in the past years at the monastery. A 5-year restoration by being closed to visitors in 2015. His work has been started. At this time, it was discovered that there were some secret passages.
Through the monitoring of secret passages, which are considered sacred by Christians, a chapel with a place of worship appeared. Inside the chapel until today, an unprecedented heaven and hell, a place that carries a depiction of death and life. He was wondering why a chapel was built in this part and connected to it by a secret passage. Although the answer to his question cannot be given exactly, this section of the monastery is the most